When we think about early 2000s cartoons that made a big impact on viewers, The Weekenders stands out as a special show. It first aired on February 26, 2000, on Toon Disney, and it captured the fun of weekends, friendship, and growing up in a unique way. Created by Doug Langdale, the show found a loyal audience because it was so relatable, funny, and showed the real-life ups and downs of being a kid. Over 4 seasons, The Weekenders told the story of four friends having fun in their town of Bahia Bay. Let's explore the history of this amazing show and its legacy. In the late 1990s, TV networks were changing the way they made cartoons. They wanted shows that were funny but also easy for kids to relate to. The Weekenders was a perfect example of this new trend. Doug Langdale, the creator, wanted a cartoon that was different from the usual fantasy-based shows. He wanted something that kids could really see themselves in, something that showed their everyday lives, dreams, fears, and fun times in a real way. The idea was simple but powerful. Follow a group of four friends: Tino Tonatini, Laura Macquarie, Carver Descartes, and Tish Katsufrakis during their weekend adventures. Unlike other cartoons that focused on wild and unrealistic stories, The Weekenders was grounded in real life. The characters were relatable, they were awkward, funny, and had flaws, just like real kids. The show's episodes showed the joy and surprises of weekends, giving the audience a feeling of nostalgia for their own school-free days. One of the most special things about The Weekenders was its setting, the made-up town of Bahia Bay. Bahia Bay was always changing. For example, the local pizza place always had a new theme, like a medieval castle or an underwater scene. This ever-changing environment made the show feel fresh and exciting, showing that the weekend was always full of surprises. The way the show was designed also stood out. The animation style was simple but had fun details that made it unique. One cool detail was how the characters changed their outfits every episode, which was unusual for cartoons at the time. This small but meaningful detail made the characters feel more real and showed that they were growing and changing just like real kids. The Weekenders was so enjoyable because of its main characters. Each of the four friends had a different personality, which made for lots of interesting stories. Tino Tonatini, voiced by Jason Marsden, was the main character and narrator. He was funny, a bit nervous, and always spoke directly to the audience, making it feel like he was a friend telling you his story. Laura Macquarie, voiced by Gray Delisle, was the sporty one, tough, competitive, and always ready for action. But Laura also had insecurities about being girly enough. Carver Descartes, voiced by Phil Lamar, cared a lot about being popular and stylish. He often tried to change himself to fit in, which led to funny situations that anyone who has tried to be cool could understand. Tish Katsufrakis, voiced by Kath Sose, was the smart and creative one. She liked art, music, and reading, and her interests often led the group into new activities like visiting art galleries or going to poetry readings. Tish's family was also different, with her Greek heritage adding a unique element to the show. Together, the four friends balanced each other out, making them feel like a real group of kids. The Weekenders focused on themes that mattered to its young viewers. Friendship was the most important theme. The ups and downs, misunderstandings, and making up that are all part of real friendships. The characters were not perfect friends. They made mistakes, argued, and faced challenges, but they always found a way to fix things. It was a great message for young viewers about understanding, forgiveness, and sticking by your friends. The show also talked about individuality, peer pressure, and the challenges of growing up. It did this in a funny way, making kids laugh while also showing them that it's okay to be nervous or feel awkward. Tino's thoughts, which he often shared with the audience, gave a real view of the worries that many kids have: fitting in, being embarrassed, or feeling left out. By showing these feelings, the show let kids know they weren't alone. Family relationships were also important in The Weekenders. Each character had a different kind of family, which shaped who they were. Tino's relationship with his mom, voiced by Lisa Kaplan, was especially memorable. She was supportive but quirky, often giving strange but wise advice. The way Tino's family was shown was refreshing at a time when most cartoons had very traditional families. The music of The Weekenders played a big part in why it was so fun. The theme song, performed by Wayne Brady, was catchy and energetic, setting the tone for each episode. The background music was lively and made each scene more entertaining. The music made the show feel even more upbeat and enjoyable. The Weekenders still matters because it shows that great storytelling doesn't need to be over the top or full of fantasy. Instead, the show focused on the simple everyday adventures that kids experience. It made ordinary weekends feel important and exciting, which is something everyone can relate to, even today. The characters weren't superheroes or living in a magical world, they were just kids like everyone else, which made them easy to connect with. The show captured the essence of being a kid, when weekends meant freedom, fun, and possibilities. That feeling of waiting all week for Saturday, of making plans with friends and wondering what kind of adventures the weekend would bring, is something most people have experienced. The Weekenders understood that and celebrated it, turning those 2 days into a time of limitless potential. It showed that even the most normal moments can be full of excitement when you're with your best friends. The humor in The Weekenders was clever and spoke to both kids and their parents. The jokes were often layered, with enough depth for adults to enjoy while still being funny for children. This gave the show a wide audience and helped make it a favorite for family viewing. The show also treated its audience with respect. It never talked down to kids. Instead, it presented their feelings and experiences honestly, making viewers feel understood and valued. The focus on friendship is one of the main reasons The Weekenders still holds up today. Friendships during childhood are complex, full of ups and downs, laughter, arguments, and makeups. The Weekenders showed all of this in a way that was both funny and real. The friends in the show weren't perfect, and they often made mistakes, but they always found a way to make things right. This portrayal of friendship, that it's okay to mess up, but it's important to be there for each other, is still an important message. Another reason The Weekenders still matters is because of how it showed individuality. Each character was different and had their own strengths, weaknesses, and interests. Whether it was Lore's love of sports, Tish's passion for art, Carver's obsession with being cool, or Tino's quirky sense of humor, each character was fully themselves. The show celebrated these differences and showed that being unique is something to be proud of. This message of self-acceptance and valuing what makes you different is timeless and continues to resonate with audiences today. The show also offered a refreshing take on family dynamics. It gave viewers who didn't come from traditional family setups a chance to see themselves on screen. Even years after it ended, The Weekenders continues to be discovered by new viewers on streaming platforms. The nostalgia factor is strong, but it's not just nostalgia that keeps people coming back. It's the heart of the show, the humor, and the way it captures the magic of ordinary life. For fans, The Weekenders represents a simpler time, when weekends were for fun, adventure, and friends. It's a reminder that sometimes the best moments in life are the simple ones, hanging out with friends, exploring your town, and making the most out of those precious days off from school. As more people seek out content that is comforting and relatable, The Weekender stands out as a perfect example of a show that balances humor with heartfelt storytelling. It wasn't about flashy adventures or saving the world. It was about the small adventures that we all have, the friendships that shape us, and the joy of 2 days filled with endless possibilities. It's this ability to find magic in the everyday that makes The Weekenders still matter, even years after it first aired.